They say routine is the quiet killer of relationships, but for us, it wasn't routine that crept in. It was silence. A kind of lingering emptiness that hung in the corners of our conversations, the pauses that grew longer over dinners, the kisses that turned mechanical, habitual rather than heartfelt. My name's Daniel, and I used to think I had the kind of marriage that could weather anything. Married to a woman like Camille, how could I not believe that? She was magnetic, vibrant in a way that made people lean in a little closer when she spoke. We'd been married 7 years. No kids, though we'd talked about it plenty. Something always came up: timing, money, stress. She said she needed more time. I never questioned it. I worked in the city, senior systems analyst at a logistics firm. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid well. My hours were long, and commuting didn't help. But I kept pushing because I wanted to build a life Camille could feel secure in. I thought we were still in this together. I really did. Camille had always loved swimming. She said it calmed her. So when she signed up for a few private sessions at the local sports club's indoor pool, it didn't seem odd. The instructor was someone she'd casually mentioned, Ryan. "He's young," she said, "probably in his late 20s. Used to swim competitively." I barely registered the details. I was usually too tired by the time I got home to engage beyond the surface. Weeks went by. Camille started staying out a little later than usual on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She said her sessions were running over, and then she grabbed dinner with some of the girls from the class. "We usually end up at the smoothie bar," she'd tell me, casually kissing my cheek. I didn't press. I wanted to believe that my trust was enough. But looking back, the signs were there, subtle but impossible to ignore now. The first real hint was the swimsuit. She'd bought a new one, sleek, black, with cutouts that revealed more skin than I'd ever seen her wear to the beach. "I just wanted something new," she said, brushing it off. I remember the way she smiled when she put it on, her eyes meeting her reflection, not mine. Then came the phone habits. She was always texting, smiling at her screen, then locking it quickly whenever I walked into the room. At first, I told myself not to be the guy, the jealous, overbearing husband. But it gnawed at me, day after day. The tipping point came when I got home early from work on a random Wednesday. A canceled client meeting meant I could surprise her. Maybe take her out to that sushi place she loved. I walked into the house expecting to hear music, maybe the sound of the shower. Instead, I heard nothing. Her gym bag was by the door, damp towel hanging halfway out. Her keys on the counter. The sliding door to the backyard was open. That's when I heard it, the low murmur of voices, and the occasional splash from the pool. We didn't have a pool, but our neighbors did. And theirs backed up right to our fence. The one Camille had always joked was too short for privacy. My heart started to race. I stepped quietly to the edge of the kitchen, and then I heard her laugh. It wasn't the polite chuckle she used at work parties. It was the unfiltered, warm laugh, the one I hadn't heard in months. I moved toward the side gate, every step feeling like it might betray me. I peeked through the slats. Camille was in the neighbor's pool. She was straddling someone's shoulders, playfully pushing his head under water. He resurfaced, and she kissed him. Fully. Deeply. No hesitation. That was no casual friend. That was Ryan. They thought I was at work. And technically, I should have been. But there I was, watching the woman I loved like a spectator at a show I never wanted a ticket to. I didn't confront them. I walked back inside, sat down at the kitchen table, and stared at my hands. They were shaking. Not from anger, at least not yet, but from disbelief. I felt like I'd slipped into someone else's life. Some other man's nightmare. By the time Camille came back inside, towel drying her hair and humming to herself, I had already composed my face into something unreadable. She kissed me on the cheek. Hey, babe. Sorry, got caught up talking to Claire from next door. You're home early. I nodded. Meeting got canceled. She froze, just for a moment, then smiled. Nice surprise. I didn't say anything. And for the first time in our marriage, I felt something between us break. Not with a bang, but a silent, final snap. That night, I didn't sleep. Camille lay next to me, breathing softly, her back turned, like she had been for weeks. I watched the ceiling, the slow-moving shadows from the fan spinning overhead. My mind was a carousel of moments. Her laughter in the pool, the kiss, her soaked hair as she walked past me like nothing had happened. By morning, I'd made a decision. Not to scream. Not to confront. Not yet. I needed answers, and I knew how to get them. Over the next week, I pretended like nothing had changed. I made her coffee, kissed her goodbye in the mornings, sent her texts I didn't mean. In return, she gave me just enough affection to keep the illusion intact. But I noticed everything now, the way she lingered in the mirror before heading out, how she always double-checked her phone when it buzzed. I called in a favor from an old friend who did tech work. He set up cameras, discreet, nearly invisible ones. One in the hallway, another pointed at the front door. The last one? Under the patio awning, facing the backyard. It didn't take long. The following Thursday, I left for work as usual. But this time, I only drove to the end of the street and circled back through a side alley to my buddy's house, where I'd set up a feed to watch everything. It was just after 11 a.m. when Camille returned. She was supposed to be at her swim class. I watched as she changed quickly into that same sleek swimsuit and threw on a robe. Then, right on schedule, Ryan walked through the side gate. No hesitation. No awkwardness. Just routine. Practiced. Familiar. I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw enough. Him lifting her into the pool, her legs wrapped around his waist, her laugh echoing through the speakers. Something inside me hollowed out. I shut the laptop and sat in silence. Later that evening, I came home like always. Dinner was on the stove. She greeted me with a kiss, asked how my day was. I lied. She lied. We danced our little dance again. But this time, I was ready. On Saturday morning, I asked her to sit with me. She seemed surprised, maybe even a little wary. I told her I'd been feeling off lately, like we weren't in sync. She nodded, eyes guarded. It's the stress, she said. You've been working too much. I smiled. You might be right. But I've been thinking we should take a trip. Just the two of us. Reset. Camille's eyes lit up just enough. That sounds amazing. Great, I said. I was thinking we could leave next weekend. Maybe the lake house? She hesitated. Next weekend might be tough. I think my classes. I interrupted. I already checked. The pool's closed for maintenance next weekend. There it was, the flicker. Barely there, but I saw it. Yeah, she said quickly. Of course. Let me check my calendar. I nodded, watching her. While you do that, there's something I need to show you. I stood, walked to the living room, and turned on the TV. I played the footage, no sound, just the image of her and Ryan in the pool. At first, she didn't react. But when he lifted her into his arms, she gasped. Her hands flew to her mouth. Daniel, don't. I kept my voice calm, but it shook with the weight of weeks of silence. Just don't. She reached for the remote. I took it first. I've watched enough. More than enough. I know how many times it's happened. I know the pattern. I know you wait until I'm out the door before you text him. I know he leaves through the side so the neighbors don't see. I know everything, Camille. Her face crumpled. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I didn't mean to. But you did. You chose to. Repeatedly. She wiped her tears, but I didn't move to comfort her. That instinct, the need to hold her, forgive her, fix things, was gone. What now? She asked, her voice small. That's up to you, I said. I've spoken to a lawyer. I have everything documented. But I'm not going to destroy you, Camille. I don't want revenge. I want clarity. She looked up at me, confused. Clarity? I want to know why. She didn't speak right away. Then, because I felt invisible. You were always working, always exhausted. And Ryan, he saw me. He made me feel alive again. Desired. I nodded slowly. Then why didn't you just talk to me? I was afraid, she whispered. Afraid that you'd realize I wasn't who you fell in love with anymore. Too late for that, I said quietly. We've both changed. But you made sure we couldn't change together. We sat in silence after that. A week later, she moved out. I stayed. I kept the house, the job, the rhythm of my days, but I changed. I no longer filled the silence with assumptions. I no longer ignored the small cracks. I paid attention to myself most of all. Sometimes, I still pass by the sports club and think about that pool. About how easily love can drown when left unattended. About how betrayal isn't always loud. It can be quiet, slow, like slipping into the deep end and forgetting how to swim. But mostly, I think about the surface I finally broke through. And how I'm still learning how to breathe again.